Who do you think is the least popular Pokemon? If you guessed Trumbeak, then congratulations, you're correct. At least according to Bulbapedia, the online Pokemon encyclopedia. Every Pokemon has a dedicated article on Bulbapedia, however, some Pokemon are more popular than others, and as a result, some articles receive far more traffic than others. A few months ago, Bulbapedia revealed the 60 Pokemon who received the least page visits in 2024. By this metric, they are the least popular Pokemon, and a lot of them seem to come from Generation 5, huh? I think that's a sign for me to attempt a special Pokemon White Nuzlocke, where if a Pokemon faints, they are dead forever. And I can only use Pokemon from Bulbapedia's least visited articles in major battles. This second rule is in place because some of the eligible Pokemon in this run can't be acquired without evolving from their base forms first. For example, Servine is eligible, but Snivy is not. So even though I choose the Grass Snake as my starter and can use him against wild Pokemon and generic trainers, I won't be allowed to bring him into a gym battle until he evolves. Also, when I say major battles, that includes gym leaders, N, Getsis, and our two rivals, Charon and Bianca. Not the first two rival battles though, those don't count. The rest of the rules can be found in the video description. Now that we've got the specific details out of the way, I can immediately stuff Snivy into the PC and acquire my real starter, a Patrat on Route 1. Yeah, sorry, I can't pretend to be excited about this. I don't actually like any of the 21 eligible Pokemon in this run, except for Whirlipede. Sorry, 19 eligible Pokemon, since we can't get Pignite anymore, and Gothorita is a black version exclusive. If you count evolutionary lines as one entry, then that number goes down to 17 eligible Pokemon, many of which are actual butt trash. That's why when it came to nicknaming my new unpopular companions, I decided to just name them after things I like so that I might like the Pokemon more by association. This includes Biking and the Cheesy Gordita Crunch. Cheesy GC, as she prefers to be called, is more than capable of carrying us past the first end fight in Accumula Town and Bianca on Route 2. Once we arrive in Striaton City, we immediately beeline east to the Dream Yard so we can pick up an elemental monkey. Since we chose Snivy as our starter, we receive a Panpour, which I name after my favorite color. Cheesy the Patrat and Turquoise the Panpour are the only two Pokemon we're allowed to carry into major battles for now, which isn't a problem when it comes to dealing with Charon at the trainer's school, but it is a problem when dealing with the first gym leader. Since we chose Snivy, we have to fight the fire type brother, Chili. His Pansear won't be an issue thanks to Turquoise's type advantage. No, I'm scared of his small dog. Lillipup only has 2 moves in Work Up and Bite, but the frailty of our current team means one stray critical hit could easily ruin things. It also doesn't help that Cheesy GC has a speed lowering nature in Sassy, so Lillipup moves first, boosting its attack with Work Up. Cheesy lands a tackle, which fails to bring Lillipup's HP below half. I now regret not leveling her up to 14. Lillipup's Bite does a sizable chunk to Miss Gordita Crunch, but another tackle from our rat brings Lillipup to the red. This forces Chili to spray his dog with a healing potion, allowing Cheesy to get off a free tackle. With Lillipup now firmly below half health, just one more tackle should be enough to secure us the kill. You cannot be serious. Our first death already? I had so many jokes prepared for Cheesy's namesake, but I guess they'll never see the light of day. That leaves Turquoise to pick up the pieces. He misses out on the KO and eats a bite in return, but does finally fell the Hound on the following turn. Then 2-taps Pansear with Water Gun to earn us our first gym badge, a badge earned in blood. Things aren't gonna get any easier for us because we soon face a roadblock that threatens to end this entire run. 2 preschoolers. No, I'm dead serious. These 2 children on Route 3 will straight up prevent you from proceeding onward if you're only carrying a single Pokemon in your party. In other words, if not for the major battles stipulation in our rules, our run would have ended right here because of 2 toddlers still learning the alphabet. If that had actually happened, I would have deleted this entire channel out of shame. Fortunately, we're able to use Biking in this battle since it's not a major fight. He aura farms the whole time while Turquoise does all the work. Turquoise also single-handedly handles Charon, meaning we can roll around in the grass until we find a Blitzel that I name after my love for creative writing. Oh, by the way, every member of our team has a terrible nature. Writing the Blitzel is modest, raising her special attack and lowering her attack. She is supposed to be a physical attacker. Biking the Snivy is adamant, raising her attack and lowering her special attack. He is supposed to be a special attacker. Then there's Turquoise the Panpour, who has the same sassy nature as the late Cheesy. That's plus special defense minus speed, by the way. Speed being one of his 2 halfway decent stats once he becomes Simipour. I guess these These awful natures are kind of fitting though. After all, we're working with a bunch of unpopular Pokemon, a group of outcasts if you will. Alone, they are wholly unremarkable, but if they combine their forces and work together as a team, they may be able to accomplish something special. Well, that team is about to receive a massive infusion of power, not just because Biking evolves into Servine and finally becomes eligible for major fights, but because of cold hard cash. We find a Throw in the grass outside Pinwheel Forest, and can you hear that? The money is calling. Seriously though, Throw is a revelation. Not only does he arrive at the perfect time right before Lenora's normal type gym, but he also has a non-detrimental neutral nature, and it turns out he's holding a black belt to boost the power of his fighting type attacks. There's just a 5% chance of that happening. I think this good fortune is a sign of things to come for our group of ragtag rejects. After bodybagging N, our fledgling team is set to face off against Lenora. This fight was supposed to be Cheesy's big breakout, but she's unavailable right now, so we instead lead off with riding the Blitzel. Her job in this fight will be to hit Thunder Wave, then put on some chip damage before switching to the real star of the show, the money. After getting intimidated, Riding lands a Thunder Wave, and Herdier ends up losing a turn to Paralysis. So far so good. On the following turn, Riding lands a Shockwave that does a third of Herdier's HP, then the dog gets paralyzed again. That allows Riding to get off yet another Shockwave, but Herdier breaks through Paralysis this time and uses Takedown, which misses. Thus, Riding can finish off Herdier all by herself in one of the luckiest displays I've ever had the fortune of witnessing. Okay, maybe this band of buffoons can do something after all. It's too early to celebrate, however, as we still need to deal with Lenora's Watchog, who is built like Waluigi. Riding outspeeds the lanky rat and lands a Thunder Wave, and instead of going for a boosted Retaliate, Watchog opts to put us to sleep with Hypnosis, but immediately wakes up thanks to her held Chesto Berry. The speed drop from Paralysis lets Riding get the jump on the following turn, firing off one more Shockwave before being put back to sleep. And do you hear that? The money is calling. A pitiful Retaliate on the switch in and a useless Leer the following turn is all Watchog can muster before the money seals us the win, and gym badge number 2. Screw you, Watchog, you're never getting into Smash. But seriously, good job. Biking, Riding, Turquoise, and the money. You're all starting to get the hang of this teamwork thing. That group effort deserves to be celebrated with a visit to the Serene Cafe Warehouse, where our squad will get to kick back, relax, and enjoy a nice book with a cup of Earl Grey tea. My favorite. Okay, but seriously, it took me forever to find these two stupid monkeys in Pinwheel Forest. They only have a 10% chance of appearing and shaking grass, so I had to scour through way too many Audinos and Lilligants just to find them. Plus, I won't even be able to use Book the Panseer and Earl Grey the Pansage until they evolve anyway, since unlike Panpour, only their evolutions are eligible. As for natures, Book is bashful, meaning he's all neutral. Meanwhile, Earl Grey is our third Pokemon with a sassy nature this run. Are you kidding me? After retrieving a Dragonite skull from terrorists, we cross the Sky Arrow Bridge, not just a marvel of DS era spectacle, but home to several exclusive species. Look, there's a wild like button in the ocean, and a big subscribe button on the road that looks oh so smashable, all underneath a beautiful blue sky. Twitter. We soon arrive in Castelia City, where a scientist on the docks gives us a choice between 3 evolutionary stones that we can use to evolve one of our elemental monkeys. I ultimately decide that the best long-term option is to take the Fire Stone and evolve Book into Simisear. This finally makes Book eligible to be used in major battles, meaning he can single-handedly run through Berg's entire team, like an all-you-can-eat buffet to earn our 3rd gym badge, if an all-you-can-eat buffet consisted entirely of flame-roasted bugs. We've got some time to spare, so why not celebrate our win by exploring everything Castelia City has to offer. There's so much to do. Visit a swanky cafe, receive useful gifts, get flashed in a dark alleyway, you know, the usual big city staples. Our next rival battles go by without any issue because our team has really started to gel together. They may be a bunch of goofballs, but they know how to get things done with physical force. It's looking like Planet of the Apes out here. And snakes, and zebras, and whatever the hell Throw is supposed to be. After stumbling through Pokemon Arizona, we arrive in Nimbasa City, where we'll need to lock in for once. We've got 2 notoriously difficult fights coming up against N and Alessa, so we need to prepare. East of the city is the Lost Lauren Forest, where we add Rune the Tranquil to our party, named after my nostalgia for late 2000s RuneScape. As for our new bird, I can tell she's gonna fit right in with our team, because she also has a speed lowering nature. Woo! We pick up a piece of charcoal outside the forest for Book, after which it's time for the most awkward Ferris wheel ride ever. Who the f starts a conversation like that? I just sat down. Let's skip past the fact that N is the head of a domestic terrorist group and instead focus on Turquoise turning Sandile into an amphibious species. Scraggy comes in next, and his swagger confuses our perpetually smiling primate. Not wanting to risk confusion damage on Turquoise, I switch to Rune. She gets the job done, but not before taking an alarming chunk of damage from Scraggy's Brick Break. This puts our avian friend in a tricky situation against N's infamous Sigilif. Rune uses Detect to buy us some time and blocks an air cutter. I then switch to Riding, expecting another air cutter, but since any damaging move could have killed a Rune, Sigilif will end up going for a random attack. That attack turns out to be Psybeam, which nearly brings Riding below half. A high damage roll or critical hit on the next Psybeam could potentially spell the end for our striped friend, but every other member of the team is either banged up or too valuable to risk against Sigilif, so our best bet is to stay in and see what Riding can conjure up. Fortunately, Sigilif goes for Tailwind instead of a damaging move, allowing Riding to get off a meaty spark that brings Sigilif to its knees, if it even has any. But Sigilif is definitely going to go for Psybeam on this next turn, which means it's time to buckle up and take it on the chin. I know this isn't your first rodeo, Riding. After that clutch performance you put up against Lenora, I'm confident you've got another one in you. Take one for the team, buddy. Sigilif low rolls on Psybeam, allowing Riding to survive with just 13 HP, and with one final spark, Riding claims victory over N. For someone unable to evolve due to our rules, Riding has put in an absurd amount of work this run, but the job ain't finished yet. We still have a white woman to address. You may be looking at the squad we've assembled for this gym battle and are wondering how in the world we're gonna pull off a win. But look a little closer at our team and you'll see that those weaknesses against Zebstrika are actually our key to winning this battle. First, however, we gotta go squirrel hunting. Alessa leads off with Emolga 1, so we lead off with Book the Simisear. Little known fact about flying squirrels in the Pokemon universe: they're dumb. Alessa's two Emolga take turns volt switching between one another, and since Book takes negligible damage while outspeeding them both, he bombards both Emolgas with flame bursts until they fall, which means it's time to go zebra hunting. Viking switches in, taking Zebstrika's Spark with ease. He weathers a flame charge the following turn, which doesn't actually do very much damage, and gives Viking the chance to lay down a Leech Seed. Little does this electric zebra know we're about to run laps around it. First, we switch to Turquoise, who eats a flimsy flame charge for breakfast. Then we switch back to Viking, who eats a pitiful Volt Switch for lunch. All the while, Zebstrika's health is slowly being sapped by Leech Seed. And do you hear that? The money is calling just in time for dinner. We're having fresh zebra tonight. A critical hit quick attack and a spark are not enough to stop the inevitable. The money throws away Zebstrika like unwanted leftovers, earning us gym badge number 4 and a hungry stomach. To celebrate a battle well fought, we take the team on a trip to Nimbasa Stadium to watch a sport. I don't know, I can't see what's being played from this viewing angle. Also, is that maid working the concessions? Hello, Charon. Goodbye, Charon. Time to cross the Driftvale Drawbridge, also known as the Charizard Bridge. I guess you can see the resemblance if you squint really hard and you look at it from a different angle on a Thursday afternoon in March while Mercury is in retrograde. We soon arrive in Driftvale City, discover a pack of frozen terrorists, and head west towards Route 6. It is here that— oh hey, a fungus. This little mushroom is eligible, so why not snatch her up? I name her after the fact that I play far too many gacha games and immediately send her to the bench. Unfortunately, she won't be allowed to evolve, so this will be the penultimate time I ever mention her. Goodbye, Fungus. As I was saying earlier, it is on Route 6 that we can get our hands on a Leaf Stone. Finally, after riding in the passenger seat since Pinwheel Forest, Earl Grey can evolve into Simisage and drive this dang thing himself. He proceeds to drive straight into Clay's gym and runs over everything in this path, single-handedly sweeping the whole thing by himself. This is mainly thanks to Clay's Excadrill going for Bulldoze on turn 1 when 2 Rock Slides could have threatened the KO. Oh well, we take those. We celebrate our easy victory by heading to the market and buying everyone a round of cold ones. Cold milk, that is. Listen, it was either this or staring at Charles. There ain't squat to do in Driftvale in Black and White 1. That's why Clay had to build 50 million hotels. On a sadder note, it is time for us to say goodbye to 2 valuable members of our ragtag bunch. Biking the Servine and riding the Blitzel have done more than their fair share of work this run, but since they aren't allowed to evolve, they're gonna fall off sooner rather than later. That's why they deserve to go out on top and retire to a nice life tending to our ever-growing bench. Thank you both for your contributions. You'll always be a part of the team in spirit. Onward to Chargestone Cave. A treat to the eyes, but this also marks the start of my least favorite portion of Black and White 1. A plodding trudge through a bunch of boring dungeons, starting off with this cave carried by vibes and aesthetics. We do catch a clink for later, but other than that, there's nothing good whatsoever about this tedious slog of a... Never mind, I love Chargestone Cave. We normally need the Surf HM to acquire a Water Stone, but this Dust Cloud discovery allows us to evolve Turquoise into Simipour, an entire gym badge earlier. After letting N yap again and making his entire team kiss the electro-charged floor, we can leave the cave and breathe in the fresh air of Mistralton City for about 5 seconds, because we soon follow Scarlet to the Celestial Tower, which I hate. Cramped layout, lack of encounter variety. If not for the neat bell at the tower's apex, this place would have nothing going for it as a dungeon. You could not pay me to willingly come here, no matter the money. No, not you, go away. Now, as it stands, our current team isn't well equipped to take on Skyla, so we're gonna need to dig deep into our roster for an answer. We need someone who can resist flying type hits, has super effective attacks of their own, and on a personal note, I'd like it if they resembled 2 gears. Whoa! Sandwich the Clang will be carrying this fight just as it carries an Eviolite. Our plan is to pray that Sandwich gets special attack boost from Charge Beam, allowing it to steamroll Skyla's legion of flying types. Is this a reliable strategy? Nope. Is Sandwich a bit over leveled for the fight? Yep, it had to reach level 38 to evolve and become eligible. Does my strategy rely a lot on luck? Absolutely, I didn't name that fungus for nothing, you know. Fortunately, our very first Charge Beam manages to get the special attack boost, but that's after Swoobat boosts its own special defense with Amnesia, so the damage is pretty subpar. It is then that I remember, oh right, Sandwich has Gear Grind, a far superior move given Sandwich's greater attack stat, which it demonstrates by cleanly carving through Swoobat. Swanna comes in next, but wastes a turn setting up an Aqua Ring, allowing Sandwich's +1 4x effective Charge Beam to 1-tap the bird. Oh, make that +2 now. Unpheasant thus stands no chance as Sandwich fires off one last Charge Beam to secure us gym badge number 6. To celebrate another job well done, we take the team to the Mistralton Airport lobby. Again, this is another city where there isn't actually much to do. It was either this or staring at the farmland with no crops. On a more positive note, our oddball squad has hit their stride and become an unstoppable force. Any team member can just tap in and handle business whenever necessary. This is apparent in our battle against Charon outside Twist Mountain, where his Pokemon get rinsed so hard he begins to question his motivations in life. Rune attempts to evolve after the win, but sorry buddy, Unpheasant is ineligible, so you'll be staying a tranquil forever. Now swallow this fly HM. I gotta swing back to Driftvale and catch an Alomomola named Anime that I'll never use. We then fly back to Twist Mountain where we gotta take care of some random hiker before entering the mountain proper. Shouldn't be an issue though. Oh my god, Earl, thank goodness you survived. Fortunately, there shouldn't be any lasting effects to having a barrage of boulders dropped onto your head, so you'll manage, right? Yeah, he's good. Unlike Twist Mountain, which I hate. It's coarse and rough and irritating and Fortunately, this is the last bad dungeon of the dreaded BW1 mid-game gauntlet. Plus, we can catch a cute little Cubchoo named Salt here. Then, once we exit the mountain and head up to Route 8, we can pick up a Palpitoad named Vinny. These two are named after my love for salt and vinegar chips, and they will also not be seeing the light of day. Into the PC you both go. We've got an ice type gym to tackle now, and if you value workplace safety, look away. Your heart might stop once you see what Bryson has cooked up. Slippery ice jumps over literal canyons, as well as an alarming lack of guardrails. So many gyms in Unova are a class action lawsuit just waiting to happen. Anyways, as for Bryson, Alright, Book, you're up. Book barely breaks a sweat as he deep fries all of Bryson's Pokemon and earns us the penultimate gym badge. To celebrate, Alright, there actually isn't anything to do in this town. There is Dragon Spiral Tower to the north, where we could get a Vanillish in the dark grass outside, but we can only access this patch of grass in the winter, so unless it suddenly decides to snow, we aren't getting our ice cream cone.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Welcome to the team, Fire Emblem the Vanillish, a fitting name for our new frozen friend. I've harped on a lot of the dungeons in this game so far, but Dragon Spiral Tower gets a pass in my book. The mythology behind it is cool, and the scenery feels way more varied. Like, this rotating section is legitimately awesome, and I wish the game uses tech more than just here, Castelia City, and that one train town nobody remembers, but I still like. And successfully subjugates Reshiram, forcing us to go on a mad goose chase to Relic Castle to search for a dark stone that ends up being in the corner of Nakreen Museum. While we're here though, we might as well swing by the Pinwheel Forest and finally pick up that Whirlipede I mentioned a while back. I'm gonna be honest though, I'm starting to run out of things that I like. Maybe I should try naming this thing after stuff everybody likes. Let's see if Google has any suggestions. Things everyone likes. Yeah, that'll do. After another easy Bianca fight and a shopping trip at the mall, we rummage through the grass outside the mall until we find a Duosian that we successfully catch. Again, I'm not sure what to call him. Maybe I'll name him after something everyone desires deep down, like world peace. I think. You never know with people these days. Alright, time to lock in again because the final gym leader Iris has got some absolute maulers on her team. We're going to need to tap into our deep roster and formulate a well thought out strategy. We could utilize the bulk and raw power of the money, or the speedy, consistent damage of the elemental monkeys, or we could just use that ice cream cone we caught a while back. Fire Emblem the Vanillish should be able to handle all these dragon types by himself. We just need to give him an icy rock and teach him hail and blizzard. The latter costs us a steep 70,000 Pokédollars, but the money isn't an issue for us as long as he can perform. Oh my god, I get it! Can you stop doing that, dude? Our final gym battle begins with Fire Emblem the Vanillish setting up the hail, while Iris's Fracture goes for a dragon dance. Now we need to tread carefully because Effie the ice cone has pitiful defensive bulk, and a +1 Dragon Claw could annihilate us if it crits. Ooh, never mind. Someone's a greedy little goober. That greed ultimately costs Fracture his life as we freeze it to death with Blizzard. Fire Emblem can now roll all the way to an easy victory. Blizzard rips through Dredigan, and would you look at that, he failed to kill. Fortunately, Dredigan uses Chip Away instead of an actual good move, then gets its remaining HP chipped away by the hail. That just leaves Iris's Haxorus, who lands a slash but cannot crit or survive Blizzard. Fire Emblem the Vanillish has successfully taken down Iris all by himself, earning us our final gym badge. His reward for a job well done is getting benched forever. Thank you for your contribution, FE. Enjoy riding the pine with the others. With all 8 gym badges in hand, we can make our way towards Victory Road now. On the way there, we catch a Boofalant. It is only now that I remember, oh yeah, I like sports.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
And since Boufalant's got the Reckless ability and a recoil-inducing head charge, I decide to name it Football. Charon challenges us to one final rival battle, but our team operates together so smoothly now that he gets brushed aside like garbage. With Glasses Boy dealt with, we can now set our sights on Victory Road, and I gotta say, Black and White 1 has my favorite iteration of Victory Road ever. Before you even enter, you have to pass through 8 gates, each themed after their respective gym. There are some awesome set pieces here, and the music keeps getting more instruments as you pass by each gate until the full piece is finally put together as you stand at the base of Victory Road. Oh man, this is just sublime. My only real gripe with BW1's Victory Road is the lack of trainers, but the aura here is so crazy that it gets a pass. Also, while we could get our final eligible encounter here, we don't really need Heatmore right now, and I actually hate catching Pokemon, so if I don't have to do it, I won't. Instead, my energy is gonna go towards planning out how we're gonna conquer the Pokemon League. Keep in mind that we'll have access to a PC inside of N's castle, so we can worry about the 2 green-haired dorks later and focus squarely on building the right team to take down the Elite Four. After some calculations and distribution of speed EVs to meet certain speed benchmarks, I managed to come up with our squad of 6. First up is... the money is our answer to Grimsley's dark types, just as it's the answer to a lot of things. Though honestly speaking, we don't really need 6 team members for the Elite Four. Case in point, Turquoise the Simipour is here solely to check Chantal's Chandelure and Golurk. He's also got Shadow Claw, in case, but if we ever have to rely on him to beat Chantal or Caitlyn, then we're probably screwed anyway. It's a similar case for Earl Grey the Simisage, who is only here as a backup answer to Chantal's Jellicent and Golurk again. He and Turquoise will basically be glorified cheerleaders for the rest rest of the team. This also holds true for Sandwich the Clang, who does have some more use as a check to Caitlyn, but that's not an excuse to stop waving those pom-poms. Team member number 5 is a whole different story, however. World Peace the Duosian has escaped the bench to serve as our answer to Marshall's fighting types thanks to Psychic and a jaw-dropping base special attack stat of 125. The trade-off is that he's as squishy as Jello, so that's why he also packs Reflect. And for our final team member, we have someone who will prove vital in our battles against Caitlyn and Chantal, and even Grimsley if need be. It's the one, the only, Basketball the Crustal. Come on, don't you guys know Basketball the Crustal? No, you don't? Well, I don't blame ya, I just caught her. Crustal has always been eligible, and I could have added one as soon as the 5th gym, but I didn't at the time because we already had ways to handle the remaining gym leaders, and again, I hate catching Pokemon. However, Basketball has a shockingly good matchup against 3 members of the Elite Four, so she's here extra late to act as our MacGuffin, sort of like Sonic in the Subspace Emissary. With our team finalized, we can begin to take on the Elite Four, starting with Marshall, the fighting type specialist. It's time to show him the power of world peace. Our green gelatinous blob has been given enough speed EVs to outrun Marshall's throw, which is why he can set up a reflect that eases the pain of the incoming payback. On the following turn, Psychic cleanly one-shots throw, inviting in Marshall's vengeful Mean Shao, whatever. It goes for a boosted Retaliate, which brings World Peace into the yellow. The resulting Psychic is another one-hit KO, forcing Marshall to show us his sock. The Burt lookalike misses Stone Edge, allowing World Peace to get a powerful Psychic off that can't secure the kill thanks to Sock's sturdy ability. While Marshall heals his Pokemon with a full restore, World Peace also restores some health using Recover. What proceeds is the same old song and dance. Sock lands a Stone Edge, World Peace hits a Psychic that activates Sturdy, Marshall uses another full restore, and World Peace uses Psychic again. Sock will outspeed us, and if Stone Edge crits, World Peace will be gone forever. But if it doesn't crit, or it misses, then World Peace will triumph. And with just 16 HP remaining, he lands the killing blow on Sock, then outspeeds Conch Elder to finish it off with one last Psychic. The first Elite Four member has fallen thanks to World Peace. No time to rest, however, oops, sorry about that guys, my repel just wore off. We got another Elite Four member to deal with, the Psychic type specialist, Caitlyn. This means it's time for Basketball the Crustal to flex her might. Thanks to her sturdy ability, we don't fear any potential critical hits from Reuniclus. Its Psychic doesn't even bring Basketball to the red anyway, meaning she can get off a Shell Smash scot-free and turn this fight into garbage time. X-Scissor one-taps Reuniclus, Smackdown one-shot I didn't think it would be so hard to say this. Smackdown one-shots Sigilif, and Basketball turns Gothitelle and Mashana into posters as she makes the entire Caitlyn fight a blowout. Next up is the Dark-type specialist Grimsley, so you already know who's on the phone. The Money starts off this contest with Bulk Up boosting his attack and defense in the face of Scrafty's Brick Break. Once again, speed EVs allow us to get the jump as the Money can outspeed again and score the first KO with Storm Throw. At this point though, it's just a battle of attrition. The Money has the damage to secure one-hit KOs, but he isn't fast enough to outrun the rest of Grimsley's team, so he tanks hits from Liepard and Bisharp respectively before taking them down. This puts him in a somewhat tricky situation against Crocodile, whose Intimidate erases the attack boost the Money had been enjoying. Listen buddy, you just gotta survive one Earthquake here and you'll have secured the win. No need for further theatrics, show us the Money. Thank you! With the decisive blow, the Money secures us win number 3. That just leaves one final member of the Elite Four, the Ghost-type specialist Chantal. Once again, it's time to play ball. Basketball. X-Scissor has been replaced with Shadow Claw, and her held item has been swapped out for a Rostberry in case Chantal's lead Cofagrigus uses Will-O-Wisp, which it does, but it misses. Our contingency plan turns out to be for naught as Basketball gets off a free Shell Smash and proceeds to Shadow Claw Chantal's entire team into oblivion. That's the entire Elite Four done and dusted. Just in time for us to witness End taunting Alder because the king of Team Plasma has become the champion and successfully taken over the Pokemon League.
Terrorists win.
Hey, not so fast, we're still here. It's up to our unpopular Pokemon to play the unlikely heroes and put an end to this tyranny, so we can go home and visit a cafe or something. As I alluded to earlier, there is a PC inside N's castle which we could use to assemble our final team for the upcoming fights against N and Getsus. 5 of the 6 who accompanied us in the Elite Four will also be making the final cut. As for our final team slot, World Peace is out and the 3rd Elemental Monkey is back in. Book joins this group of longtime stalwarts in basketball as we confront the first of the 2 final... Oh wait, first we gotta beat the crap out of Zekrom. Our group of forgotten outcasts have been through a lot, but throughout it all, they've been one cohesive, dependable unit. They've been a family. So what's one more threat against a bond this strong? N starts off the fight by sending out his powerful legendary Reshiram, while we send out Turquoise. Fusion Flare does a good bit of damage to us, while Surf does a nice chunk right back. Reshiram will likely attempt to secure the kill here with Hyper Beam, so I switch to Basketball to resist it. Sure enough, the beam comes out and tickles our ball. Oh, you can't say that! Reshiram is forced to recharge after using Hyper Beam, allowing Basketball to get off a risk-free Shell Smash and obliterate the Blue Eyes White Dragon with Smackdown. Caracosta takes the field next and rips off a Stone Edge, but Sandwich is already switched in to eat the hit like a champ. Predicting a water type move next, I swap to Earl Grey, and sure enough, Caracosta uses Waterfall, which gets resisted and triggers Earl's held Rocky Helmet. Listen, after the Rock Slide fiasco earlier, he needs all the head protection he can get. With Caracosta's sturdy ability no longer in play, Earl can send that turtle straight back to the ocean with a Seed Bomb. Vanillux comes in after, which means Book does as well. He shrugs off a Blizzard, then melts the Deluxe Sundae with a burst of flame. That's half of N's team down, with Archeops next on the chopping block. Sandwich comes back in on a resisted Stone Edge, then takes another easily as it grinds Archeops to dust. Jealous of how well our Metal Gear has been performing, N sends out his bigger Metal Gear, Ling Clang. But look closely, and you'll realize that this isn't a marvel of metal machinery. This is actually Zoroark ready to fire off a Focus Blast. That's why I bring in the money to tank the hit. Sure enough, Focus Blast connects, and while it does drop our special defense by 1 stage, Zoroark misses the next Focus Blast, allowing the money to break the illusion and score the KO. That just leaves the actual Kling Clang left standing. Floating. But like a broke man down on his luck, Kling Clang is just another victim to the money. With one final hit, we claim victory over N, which means our final challenge before we can finally retire to a cozy cafe is another angrier green-haired man. I'm not nearly as confident with this battle as I was with N, but seeing as we've managed to get this far with our platoon of goofballs, I think they'll be able to handle one more fight. Turquoise gets this battle started on the right foot, taunting Cofagrigus to prevent Toxic. He then washes away Cofagrigus with 2 Surfs while only taking a single Shadow Ball in response. With his work done, he tags out for Sandwich because I was expecting Bouffalant to go for head charge here, but it instead goes for the wilder charge. This leaves Sandwich susceptible to getting KO'd by Earthquake, and without a resist to take the hit, our best bet is to show Bouffalant the money. Our resident Judo champion manages to survive the Earthquake and can now rip off a powerful revenge after taking one more hit. Jeez, that did a lot more damage than I was expecting. At least he manages to get the KO the next turn, but that invites in Getsus' infamous Hydreigon, whose firepower means that switching anyone else in is a recipe for death. Thus, our optimal play here, well, I think you know what it is. From finishing off Lenora and Alessa to annihilating Grimsley to all the other hits he's taken, the money has been here throughout it all. He's been the heart and soul of the team, and what better way to stake that claim than by making the ultimate team sacrifice. Godspeed, old friend. The afterlife is calling. From an old face to a fresh face, Basketball the Crustal has taken the field. Hydreigon prioritizes hitting super effectively with Surf instead of Focus Blast, which means Basketball can easily get off a Shell Smash, giving her the extra speed and power needed to knock the nefarious dragon out once and for all. Next up is Bisharp, and while it would be tempting to stay in and fire off an X-Scissor with Basketball, it's not a guaranteed KO, and I do not want to risk any more lives here. So Basketball subs out for Book, who takes Bisharp's X-Scissor like a champ before firing off a Flame Burst. The does score the kills. See, I ain't always just gonna zoom in on the health bars when things don't go my way. Seismitoad enters the fray next, so Book tags out for his grassy brethren. One seed bomb is all Earl Grey needs to turn the Toad into mincemeat. That just leaves one final opponent, Ghetsis' Electros. Unfortunately, we've put ourselves into a lose-lose situation. Seismitoad's Earthquake did a considerable amount of damage to Earl, and Electros will 100% fire off a super effective flamethrower to secure the KO. Unfortunately, we cannot switch to anyone else. Sandwich also fears flamethrower, and Basketball is too injured. Though Book and Turquoise would survive a flamethrower, they would surely perish the following turn since they don't have the firepower to knock out Electros in one hit. In other words, switching out Earl is not the play here. No, the play is to let him stay in and rack up some damage before he inevitably bites the dust as well. We're not just losing the money, we're losing someone who's been here since Pinwheel Forest. Earl, your annihilation of Clay and continued contributions throughout this run were vital to our success, including the head trauma. You truly were the perfect teammate. Hold your head up high, buddy. You're going out on top, like that big old pompadour of yours. But Earl challenges his fate, landing a critical hit seed bomb that... Oh, fate, you're a cruel, cruel mistress. With the Electros reeling, we can bring in Book to avenge the loss of his brother-in-arms. Ghetsis burns a full restore while Book fires off a flame burst that can't even bring Electros to half. At this point, I'm panicking a bit, so I end up making a risky move and select Will-O-Wisp. But miraculously, it hits, burning Electros and weakening the incoming acrobatics considerably. The burn damage also drops Electros below half HP, meaning that with one final decisive flame burst, Book takes down the electric eel and seizes victory over Ghetsis. The run is over. We've managed to beat Pokemon White using only the least popular Pokemon according to Bulbapedia. And while we've suffered some last-minute losses, I think our fallen companions would still be happy with the results. After all, this team comprised of forgotten Pokemon was able to accomplish something special together. So let's celebrate a little, shall we? "11 orders of Earl Grey tea, please."
But sir, there's only 8 of you.
I know, put it all on my tab. The money won't be an issue. Oh my god, wait, aren't you supposed to be dead?